Residents in and around the area should brace themselves as the spillage will continue for the next 1 week. Unfortunately, we're there in these affected communities tonight. Stay with us to tell you how the nightlife is in the midst of all this flooding. Also, it is all praise for the governments of Ghana and South Africa following an agreement by the two countries to waive visas for ordinary passport holders. We'll look at why this is a big deal and how it will affect travel and tourism in Africa. And how is this really going to be operationalized? So stay with us. We'll get some details on that. Also, we're in the Odododio constituency, where chaos erupted earlier today during the vetting of the National Democratic Congress parliamentary aspirants. We'll speak to the Member of Parliament for the area for details of what exactly happened and what is being done to address the situation. So stay with us here. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Brief.
Communities downstream the Volta Lake should brace themselves as the spilling of excess water from the Akonsomo and Kpon dams will continue for at least 1 week. The Deputy Chief Executive of the Volta River Authority tells TV3 the dam is still receiving more water from upstream and is at risk of breaking if the spillage is stopped now.
We are hoping that it will end very soon. Around this time of the year, we get inflows into the dam, but the difference is that we are getting excessive inflow, and that is the reason why we have to still, in a controlled manner, to save the dam. But as the cycle goes through, we expect that very soon we will be lucky to end the heavy spilling. Let's say the controlled or very little spilling and continuity.
Former president and leader of the NDC has intimated dredging of the Volta estuary is necessary as much as keeping the Akonsomo Dam safe from collapse. Visiting flood victims in the Southern, Central and North areas of the Volta region, John Mahama says the sanctity of the dam needs to be kept, urging the Volta River Authority to consider dredging the lower Volta basin. He has assured the victims of some relief items in coming days.
Heavier is spilling but this seems to be a bit heavier than normal. And so I do think it's fine. But it's also good to dredge, because if you dredge, the extra volumes of water are able to move faster. For instance, you can see under the bridge, several parts are silted. If all that part had been cleared, it will be easier for the water to flow through so that it doesn't back up into people's houses. I supplied some relief items to the MPs, and I've been discussing with the MPs. They've already done something, but they intend to do very some more. They are providing extra water assistance. People don't have good drinking water. MPs together with me are going to do that and give our widows mine, but it won't be enough. And that's why I said I can't be here.
Chaos broke out at the South La regional office of the National Democratic Congress on Friday. The location was the venue for the vetting of parliamentary aspirants for the Odododio constituency. The parliamentary primary of the NDC for the constituency will take place later this month. It is unclear what caused the rancor. The journalist of Accra-based CTFM was allegedly assaulted in the chaotic melee. Government is exploring two potential solutions to provide assistance to patients with kidney disease. The Health Minister, Kwaku Agyeman-Manu, who made this known at the health conference in Accra, says the relief could be in subsidies or enrollment onto the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Government is quickly looking at what policy new thing that we can introduce to support those with that challenge. It is seriously a problem with all of us. I presented a paper on the request of the President to Cabinet last week, and we are looking at it. Quickly we know what we should do to solve some of these challenges. The only option is that if we seem to have good money, right, government can absorb and give subsidies to the people. We have asked Kolebu and the other centers to give us the type of numbers they're dealing with so we can quantify what type of support we can bring in.
Fuel prices in Ghana are expected to drop in the second pricing window of October, according to projections by the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers (COPEC. The expected drop is due to a significant decline in international petroleum prices and a stable forex rate.
Oh, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, more and more communities affected by the water spillage from the Akonsombo Dam. That's the excess water from the Akonsombo. But the Volta River Authority is saying that residents in these communities, what you're seeing there are areas where this was bare land, but it's been inundated by this excess water from the spillage from the Bagri Dam, such that you can see more of like rivers, artificial rivers created there, and they have to use canoes as a means of transportation. Now, the VRA is saying that these areas that have been affected should brace themselves as the spillage will continue for another 1 week. Now, already for the past 72 hours, the impact of this excess water spillage, as uncontrolled spillage from the Akonsombo Dam, has wreaked havoc on a number of these communities we're talking about. And in Mepe and Sogakope alone, from the reports we are receiving, over 5,000 residents have been displaced as a result of this spillage. Now, take a look at what we got earlier from Mepe, Sogakope, and some other parts of the Volta region that have been affected. Take a look. We received this earlier from the OT region. Now, what we're saying is that the spillage is spreading across a number of regions. Now, we've counted 4 regions as of today. This is the OT region, specifically some parts of Pandai. That's what you're saying there. This is some of the island and also coastal communities in the OT region, Pandai specifically. And there as well, we have buildings that have been submerged in the floodwaters beyond the roofing level. So the buildings have been buried completely in the floodwaters. That's the video that we got from the OT region. Now, we've seen as well what's happening in the eastern region. That's Akusi and this is Sutraya and its environs. And then also, we're learning that parts of the Savannah region as well has been affected by this spillage. And then also the eastern part of the Greater Accra region, Adan and its environs. So this is it. This is what is happening now. So there are 5 regions now that have been affected by this spillage. That's the northern, Savannah, the Greater Accra, the eastern, and also the Volta region, which has been heavily affected. This is the northern region. These are pictures from the northern region that has also been hit by the spillage from the Akonsombo Dam. If you've traced the flow of the river, this specifically is the Savannah region, this is the Savannah region. If you trace the flow of the water into the Akonsombo Dam, you can understand why all of these areas in the Savannah region have been affected as well, unfortunately. Now, that's what we're seeing now. So far, 5 out of the 16 regions have been affected by this spillage from the Akonsombo Dam. The Savannah region, the Volta region, part of the Greater, that's Adan in the eastern part of the Greater Accra region. And then also you have the OT region. And then the most heavily hit is the Volta region as well. Now, when you look at the Volta region, and we're going to show you videos of the Volta region shortly, where we've seen a number of persons displaced as a result of this situation. And take a look at what happened in the Volta region earlier today. And we understand also that there's been some relief items given to them. My colleague, Joseph Gold Armstrong Alogbe, is in the community, specifically the Azizanya community in the Adan area. This is in the eastern part of the Greater Accra region. He's moved from the Volta region to Azizanya tonight. He is joining us for a quick update on the nightlife in that community in the area. Joseph, tell us exactly what's going on and what you've observed since morning from the Volta region where you were and the Greater Accra region, that's the Adan and its environs where you are now.
It is yet another night for residents that have been hit by the flood waters due to the spillage from the Akosombo Dam. Every night is more or less like a nightmare for the residents, especially living in Mepe in the North Thong area, and also residents in the South Thong. And now where we stand currently is Adan, that is Azizanya. The situation is getting worse now as we stand here at Adan. The water currently is taking over some of the communities along the Adan estuary. Where I stand behind me, I'm told, was a building but has collapsed just some few hours after the water took over this community. And we've been moving from one place to the other. Early this morning we were in Mepe, where the floodwaters moved from where it was previously on a Thursday morning to a different level altogether, to the extent that where the people were kept as a safe haven, they have to relocate them due to the water surrounding where they were being kept. They complain about NADMO not bringing them enough food for them to feed on. For them, what they need is cooked food and not dry rice and oil for them to cook, because they've lost virtually everything, like their cooking pot and also coal pots or gas that they can use to prepare a new meal for themselves. Later, we saw the Volta regional minister in company with the MP for Hohwe, who came around, also with the deputy director of NADMO. They all came to assess the situation and they sympathized with the people and assured them that they were going to help them get proper relief items. But some of the residents also called on the Volta regional minister and plead with him to at least relocate them to the Saglemen housing project. Situation, the regional minister says, well, that is impossible for the time being. For now, he wants them to stay at a place called Kizito in the Mepe area. The residents were not too happy, because for them, if you have such a huge facility sitting down, rotting away, why don't you keep us there for the time being? But of course, the regional minister will not take any of that. He wasn't there for that. He was just there to sympathize and also help them with some relief items. And also, we left there and then we went to the district office where the relief items were later on distributed to the affected residents. We moved on from that place to Bato, that were also hit early this morning. Previous days they were not hit, but today they were also added to the communities that were affected by the flood waters. Right from there, we heard the former president John Mahama was visiting some affected areas in the Sogankope enclaves. We got there exactly 3:30. He arrived. The first place he went to was the Komboni Hospital mortuary, where the floodwaters have taken over the mortuary. And then, as it stands, there are about 30 bodies in the mortuary, and the need came for the hospital to call on family members to bring in vehicles to transport the bodies to different hospitals. The former president was there to also assess the situation for himself and well, sympathize with family members that were in to pick their bodies to different hospital facilities. He left there and went to the main hospital, the Komboni Hospital. He spoke with the hospital authorities, who told him that if the going gets tough, they would have to evacuate some of the patients from the hospital to a different hospital facility as the water continued to surround the hospital. He did not stop there. He went to the Sogankope bridge, where most of the impacts, people have said the Sogankope bridge is being threatened by the heavy flow of the flood waters. He went there, he looked around, and he spoke with the media there. That is where he described the current administration, that is the current government, as irresponsible when it comes to dealing with matters that include or involves disaster. For him, this spillage, though, was very necessary. The government and the VRA and other authorities that could have taken their time to dredge and desilt the lagoon or the Adan estuary, which would have made it for the water to flow easily into the sea. But that wasn't done, which is why we are seeing the level of impact that is being felt in the South Tongue, North Tongue, and now here in Adam. For him, in the near future, for us to spill such water so that we can protect the Akosombo Dam, we should also think about the people living downstream by desilting and then also dredging the main river itself for easy flow of the water. He left there by also pledging to the resident that he is going to put his small minds together with the help from his NDC executives to see how they can also support the affected residents so that they can use that to complement that of the NADMO and also that of the VRA that they are currently giving to residents out there. So this and many other issues currently is being speculated around, but so far not even a single body has been recorded dead. Nobody has been reported dead, even though we are hearing of snake bites in the flood waters, because of course the flood has gone into the various forests, so all the wild reptiles are mixed in the water. So when you are walking in the flood waters, you ought to be very careful, because one person you are told was bitten by a snake somewhere yesterday and was rushed to the hospital. We are here to find out what happened to that victim. We are going to be here tonight and see how the water comes in during 3 a.m. You are told by the residents here in Azizania that at 3 a.m. the water do come in, and that is where they fear most for their life, because they don't know how the impact is going to be. We are going to be here tonight and we'll keep you updated tomorrow morning. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alugbe TV3, Azizania, over to you in the studios.
That's Joseph Armstrong, Good Alugbe there, now giving us a feel of the nightlife in Azizania. Now he's moved from part of the Volta region into this area in Adan, which is the eastern part of the Greater Accra region as well, which has been heavily affected by the flooding as a result of the spillage from the Akosombo Dam. Now, this is according to the VRA's own publication on the website. This is what they put out today, that in terms of the lake levels, today, 277.02 feet. That's 84.435 meters. Now, the maximum water level in the dam should be 276. Now, as at yesterday, it was 271, and it closed up to about 276, that maximum level as at yesterday. What's worrying is that even though they are spilling excess water from the dam, the water level keeps rising, because if this publication is anything to go by, it's gone beyond the maximum limit of the water levels that the dam can take. 276, now it's 277. Now, so let's go on to the telephone now. Dr. Archibald Lecha is the Volta Regional Minister. He's the chair of the Regional Security Council. Thank you so much, Dr. Lecha, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So let's establish this. What's the situation in the communities that have been affected by the spillage of this excess water from the Akosombo Dam within the Volta region? Hello? Hello? Mr. Lecha, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. I was asking what the situation is with these affected communities as we speak.
Yes, Alfred, thank you very much. I was with your reporter today. We went around the communities and saw the gravity of the situation that our people were facing. Yes, we were in the specific. Yes, and I think his report is accurate. Except I just want to make some few corrections. The flooding upstream is not as a result of the spillage. I saw pictures of Dambai, Oti region, Savannah region. Those pictures are not as a result of the spillage. The spillage is occurring at Akosombo and Akuse, and it can only affect communities downstream. So it's only the eastern region, part of the eastern region, mostly Volta region, and then a part of Greater Accra. But the Volta region, I believe, is the most affected region. So the spillage has nothing to do with what is happening in Savannah or OT regions. That is what the correction I'd like to make.
And the concern is that even with the continuous spillage, as we're witnessing now, which has caused havoc in a number of communities within your region, the water levels keep rising in the Akonsobo Dam. Has the VRA given you any indication of when the water levels will reduce, even with this uncontrolled spillage that's going on?
Yes, the explanation is that the inflows into the reservoir at this time of the year is abnormally high, and the dam has to be protected because it's a great national asset. So they have no choice actually, because the inflows, understand, are about double what is expected at this time of the year. So they are monitoring the inflows, and they are hopeful that within a week the inflows into the reservoir will reduce, and therefore they also go ahead and reduce the volume of the spillage. They call it grade 2, grade 1. They started on 15th of September with grade 1 or stage 1. I don't remember what exactly it is. But now they moved to stage 2 or grade 2 because of the volume of water coming into the reservoir. And they also have to protect the integrity of the dam. So that is the reason why they have to move up, and they are believing that within a week or so, they'll have to reduce the volume of the spillage. But for the meantime, VRA is there with us. We are working together to alleviate the suffering of the people, as your reporters witness on the ground.
I see. But while the spillage is to preserve the integrity of the dam, but for you as a chair of the Regional Security Council, what more are you doing to preserve the lives and property of the people living in these areas that have been affected?
Thank you very much, Alfred. What I would say is that the VRA normally comes around to do community sensitization, and we went ahead even to do simulation exercises before the spirit began on 15th of September. So it was expected that something like this will happen, except that some of us did not expect that it will get to this level. So whatever the situation is, we trying to manage it. We were with the people, they were happy. We provided relief items. We are relocating them. Even tonight, relocations are taking place. We are monitoring the water levels in the various communities. The military is assisting, and we're doing everything possible to make sure no life is lost. And we are happy to say that as of now, we haven't lost anybody yet, and we want to make sure that no lives are lost. The properties have been lost. People have also lost their homes for a meantime. Some buildings have been destroyed, livelihoods have been affected, but we are hopeful that it will be over very soon and people will go about their normal lives as soon as possible.
Well, the concern of the residents is that the earlier communication about this spillage was that it was going to be a controlled spillage. Before it moved to the stage 2 of the uncontrolled spillage we're seeing now, they weren't giving enough prior notice for them to even prepare and as it were, move some of their valuables from the area. Would you agree with them on that?
Okay. I think they have a case, but I think the VRA was also with us and they offered various explanations as we went along. They are still on the ground and they will respond to any inquiries that anybody may have at any time.
So, and maybe finally, they had concerns as well about this Kizito area that you were keeping them. There were suggestions as to other alternatives as well. Are you going to continue that? That's the Regional Security Council considering these other alternatives that the residents were talking about, the areas where you're keeping them?
Yeah, there are many areas that have been identified, and people we are relocating. We are always in the process of relocating. Even today, with the support of BRA, some vehicles were made available to even send people who have relatives elsewhere and wanted to join them. Vehicles were made available. There are pickups, there are buses available to move people. And this night, when we were leaving at the domain at 8 p.m., people were still being moved from the riverbank into a safe haven at the Farm Institute in the domain. So there are several places that affected victims can be relocated to, and we are working on that 24/7.
Well, thank you for the update, and we'll be following this quite closely, see how things play out. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alfred.
Dr. Archibald Lecha is the Volta Regional Minister and the chair of the Regional Security Council there. There's a clear admission that the concerns by the residents that they did not have enough prior notice before this second stage of the spillage, this uncontrolled spillage took place. They have a concern and they have a point. There's an agreement there by the regional minister. So then what next? Now, Nanam Wasi the 7th is executive director of the Institute for Energy Security. Is joining us on the telephone as well. Now, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So you make the strong argument that this spillage could have been avoided because of an earlier article that you published sometime in January. Why is that?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we did our analysis of the sector, and we're looking at the power production from the various streams within the energy mix. And so the consideration that we gave to all the mix was more of the source of supply of fuel. We did state clearly that if gas supply is sustained from both the Western Corridor and from Nigeria, then of course the thermal power element is ready to produce more. The very interesting thing we found was that the fuel for the hydro mix were in adequate volume at the beginning of the year. And so we all understand that the fuel for the hydro is the water. And so when you have a very good head or a very good water level, then of course you can produce more from this source. And we projected that hydro can be doing somewhere between 35% and 38% for the year 2023. If we choose to prioritize the dispatch of the hydro element over the thermal, and you also understand that, Alfred, that the hydro element is more cheaper in terms of cost compared to the thermal. And when you have the fuel like hydro going waste, you cannot recover it. Meanwhile, nature has endowed us with the water level for free. So we are expecting that in the PUR's estimation of power production from the various streams, they would have given priority to the hydro mix because the water level was at a very good level compared to previous years. And we did indicate clearly in our statement in January that if we don't dispatch the hydro, then the rain comes down. Then, of course, we'll be compelled to spill the water. In the first quarter of the year, PRC estimated 36% coming from hydro. We estimated more than 33%. Thank God, in the second quarter review, PRC now moved to 32% thereabout. But we believe that more could have been done in the dispatch of the hydro so we can draw from the water for productive purposes and not draw down the water, upstream water, which goes downstream to affect neighboring communities and cause havoc like they're seeing. And so we chose to prioritize thermal over hydro source, which had a very good head and a good level. And that's what we are seeing today.
I see. Now, thank you, Nana, for this intervention, because and we have copies of your analysis that you did in January, and we'll slap that on the screen right now. This is it. A specific reference to what you are talking about, that this is what you put out in January, the projections that informs your position that this could have been avoided. This is it. This is what the IES, that's the Institute for Energy Security, which Nana Nwesi is the Executive Director, published on the 20th of January 2023 in the Business and Financial Times, making this 2023 construct and industry data about the consumable water levels elevation as at the year start to end of year. So it gives you a clear understanding of the basis for the strong argument he makes about this spillage being an avoidable one, or one that could have been well planned for if this data was taken into consideration. But this is Ghana Tonight. It's something that we're keeping an eye on in our subsequent bulletins, because we have our men on the ground in all of these communities that have been affected by the excess water spilled from the Akonsombo Dam. So stay with us every step of the way here on TV3. But coming up next, we're in the Odododio constituency, where chaos has erupted earlier today during the vetting of the National Democratic Congress parliamentary aspirants. Some property was destroyed, chairs, and also some air conditioners, what we got from the constituency earlier today. Now, the vetting of the parliamentary candidate, that's the aspirants for the Odododio constituency of the NDC in the Greater Accra region, was disrupted by the violence earlier today. Members of one of the candidates' camps destroyed party property, including chairs and an air conditioner, and pelted stones at the vetting committee, citing unfairness on their part. The chaos occurred at the regional party office in South La, where three individuals, Neo Kainlae, Kote Ashi, and Michael Ni Yaboy Anang, were facing the committee in the hope of succeeding the incumbent Member of Parliament, Edwin Nilante van der Poy, who is not seeking re-election. It's not going to contest 2024 elections. Now, I got videos courtesy City TV. The Odododio constituency, as we do know, was unable to participate in the vetting exercise that took place in February 2023 due to an outstanding issues related to matters of law that the party needed to resolve. So it was after that resolution that this incident, the violence, took place today, and concerns were raised by one of the members of the other camp. So we have on record as well that a journalist of City TV was also attacked, unfortunately, as a result of the violence that happened. And we got these videos from City TV, as you saw earlier. But these are the persons who are contesting on the ticket of the NDC to contest the 2024 general elections in the Odododio constituency. Neo Kainlae, Nico Teashi, and Nia Boy, and then these three persons you see on the screen there. So let's try and establish a few things. Edwin Nilante van der Poy is the incumbent Member of Parliament for the Odododio constituency. He's joining us on telephone. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So first off, why are you not contesting again in 2024?
Alfred, to be frank with you, it gets to a time when, as a man, you have to say enough is enough. I've been in this for the past 10 years. I'm going to my 11th year and then the 12th year. Let me be frank with you. I've served my people well. I've been blessed to have gotten this opportunity. And I'm grateful to the people of the chiefs, the elders, the opinion leaders, the religious leaders, the party, and the party supporters. I'm grateful for their tremendous support. I never counted myself worthy of this position, but by the grace of Almighty God, I have said. After 2020 elections, and considering what happened during the elections, losing 2 lives, the traumatic situation I found myself and my family, or my family and I found ourselves, the siege by the police, my arrest, and the arrest of my sister, my sister-in-law, my secretary, and other people, and the persecutions we went through, it had a toll on my family. And so from that time, they told me that they won't support me in any attempt to seek re-election in 2024. I've tried to convince them. My little boy suffered serious trauma from the gunshots, the tear gas which was poured on us, and the sort of inhuman treatment meted out to people right in front of him as a young boy. So I've had serious interaction with my family, immediate family, my extended family. I've consulted far and wide with party people and executives of the party. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who I'm so grateful for to have appointed me as a minister during his tenure, and people who matter. And I've taken a decision that it is time for me to bow out and give the opportunity to the young ones behind me to also serve the people.
So all the factors taken into consideration in arriving at this decision not to contest as the parliamentary candidate or as an incumbent in the 2024 elections on the ticket of the NDC in Ododuoduo is personal. It has nothing to do with anything with the party.
No. In fact, let me be frank with you. National Chairman Honorable Johnson Asedu Nketia, my very good friend and brother, the General Secretary of the party, Honorable Fifi Kwete, I've had a series of meetings with me, convincing me to reconsider my stand. Because they think that this is a time when the party needs the most in Parliament in 2025, because of the experience I've had. But I also told them the toll this has had on me as a person and on my family. And I'm one person who really believes in one spirit. I wouldn't want to be going into a contest with my family not behind me. When it happens that way, it means that I don't have my spirit behind me. My wife and my children should be comfortable with what I'm doing, because they are my first line of defense spiritually and physically. And once they are not happy, my aunties, my mother's family, my father's family, everyone thinks that it's enough. And let me say this. I've been very privileged. No one in Ododuoduo has served more than 8 years in Parliament. I'm doing 12 years by the grace of God Almighty. I can only say thank you to God and thank you to the NDC. And as I'm talking to you now, I've now committed myself fully to work more than I ever worked before to make sure John Dramani Mahama becomes the President of the Republic of Ghana again. So I'm going to serve the NDC in every capacity that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the party thinks fit.
I see, but considering the violence that has characterized, as you made reference to the 2020 elections in your constituency, that's one of the reasons why you're not even going for re-election, right? Because of the trauma and everything to your family. Haven't seen this violence today, the process to have someone elected to replace you as the NDC parliamentary candidate should concern you, is it not?
Been to the regional office. I just arrived in the country from the US today. And so I arrived because I wanted to catch up with the vetting. Unfortunately, I couldn't. So I heard what happened. I drove there. I met the regional treasurer, the regional secretary, and the regional deputy treasurer, and the administrative manager at the office. On behalf of the constituency executive and on my own behalf, apologize to them. And we are ready to take the cost of the damage. We have asked them to do assessment. And so I was there when carpenters were brought in, other people were brought in to do the assessment. They will be forwarded to us. And we, as a constituency, will be ready to take up the cost. But then we are also determined that the party should take action against the people who vandalize the regional office. We need to instill discipline in the party. We cannot allow these people to go away free from such a dastardly behavior. We need to make sure that those people involved in the distraction will be dealt with first by the police and also by the party.
Now, but how about the underlying reason why the controversies have actually been raised? This underlying reasons that you talk about, and do you think any of the three persons contesting would actually be able to come against the likes of Nilante van der Poel, or that's Nilante Bannerman of the MPP?
Let me tell you this. If even Bawumia comes to contest, we shall retain the seat. And we shall retain the seat with a bigger margin than I won in 2020. Count on me. I'm telling you, mark it today.
See, we'll see how things play out in the coming days. A very, very important point that you make there. Thank you very much. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, it's all praise for the government of the country, that's Ghana and South Africa, following an agreement by the two countries to waive their visas for ordinary passport holders. We look at why this is a big deal and how it would affect travel and tourism in Africa. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint. As compared to other paint brands on the market, we take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful Endpoint one?
Just na me ankasa me period na say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa just na nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me modem no mo he bibia na so mo medro me fire no ene ma won kura mienu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko endpoint o mama no nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's endpoint for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di endpoint wa dance am me call you no me Joseph Sema na enkoyie and person na my nyina na magina sabema na me be fear for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Hello, my name is Dede, and as you already know, when it comes to quality phones and accessories but yet affordable, it's Franco Trading Enterprise. We are #1. We have television set from 24 inches to 65 inches, Franco air condition from 1.5 horsepower to 2.5 horsepower. We have mobile phones, iPhones, Nokia, Samsung, Huawei, Infinite, Alcatel, and accessories like phone protectors, phone covers, pen drive, hard drives. We have skilled personnel who will serve you as you wish. So look no further than Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise, the home of quality air condition, television, mobile phones, and accessories.
This is Key Points, the #1 award-winning television news analysis program, providing an enlightened analysis of the key issues facing us as a country. The Key Points of the stories that matter with the people who matter. This is Key Points, the #1 award-winning television news analysis program. Every Saturday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on TV3 and on Free FM 92.7. TV3, first in news.
Ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendars for the most spectacular event of the year. On Saturday, October 14, the Aviation Social Center transforms into a food lover's paradise as we proudly present the TV3 Schools Connect, Food Bazaar, and Kitchen Wars Grand Finale. It's not just a food festival, it's a party too. Which senior high school wins the basketball and five-a-side soccer tournament? It's a showdown like no other. And for all you nostalgia seekers, we've got the sweet sounds of old school music to transport you back in time. And now the big one, the grand finale of Kitchen Wars. Watch as the final four schools battle it out for culinary supremacy. Who will be crowned the champion of the kitchen? TV3 Schools Connect on Saturday, October 14 is the ultimate fusion of food, music, sports, and entertainment. So save the date, tell your friends, and get ready to savor the flavors. TV3 Schools Connect and Kitchen Wars Grand Finale, where food meets fun. Kitchen Wars, your school fit cook. The TV3 Schools Connect is sponsored by Gino, PGL, and Napa Foods.
Now, for the most part, many people, even at the age of 30, are not quite sure what they want to do with their lives. But this guest of ours on Today's Woman this week was blessed at the age of 3 to know exactly what she wanted to be.
From when I was 3, as far as I can remember, I was 3 years old, I said I want to be a hairdresser.
And then that was it.
Yes. Yeah, I never changed my mind.
Excellence.
Like, I never once said I want to go
be
into
a doctor.
Yeah.
No wonder she's been able to achieve so much with the red ginger label right here in Ghana.
Any hair texture, if you don't put too much oily product on, it will dry within 15 minutes.
This Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on TV3, Christine Tete is our guest. Make sure you don't miss any bit of Today's Woman. My name is Cookie. See you on Saturday at 3 p.m.
Today's Woman with Cookie T shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Latex Foam. Vlisco.
Welcome back to Ghana Tonight. Now, the government of Ghana and South Africa have signed a visa waiver agreement for holders of ordinary passports. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration of Ghana announced earlier today in the press release. Now, we have details of that press release on the screen shortly. Now, take a look at this. It says, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration wishes to inform the general public that the Republic of Ghana and the Republic of South Africa have entered into an agreement on visa waiver regime for holders of ordinary passports. That's you and I, ordinary passports. Now, the agreement takes effect from 1st November 2023. Now, travelers may transit through, depart from, and stay in the territory of both countries for a cumulative period of up to 90 days without recourse to work. Means you will not be able to work. No. The traveling public is thereby advised to take note of this development. Now, we're a few travel enthusiasts who have been also commenting on this, and to get a clear understanding of what this really means. And Amia Deborah is a social media expert and then also a travel enthusiast and a blogger. Is joining us. Amia, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And to you, Crystal Aye, is my very own colleague here at Media General, also loves to travel. Actually went to South Africa not too long ago. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I'll start with you, Amia. So for you, travel enthusiasts, I mean, how does this news of the waiver of the visas between these two countries come to you?
For those of us who have been working with South Africans, we know that it's been a long one coming because there's been talks about it over a number of years, and each time we've been waiting for it to really be concretized. And so when I saw the release today, I was like, that's a step in the right direction. I mean, a couple of days back, they had also announced that we are part of the e-visa application process And I thought that was one step leading to this. And so I was happy that finally it's come to fruition, because again, a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to travel to South Africa, but unfortunately, because of the backlog, I couldn't get my visa on time to make that journey. So now that this is coming into full swing from November 1st, I don't have to think about it so much, especially if I'm going for a very short trip, and all I need is that visa quickly on time for me to embark on the journey.
I see, but this is generally good news. I mean, at least looking at the kind of reactions and responses we are getting after this announcement earlier today. But it could possibly lead to some ignorant joy, is it not? So this 90 days period that this release talks about, tell us from your own understanding as a travel enthusiast, how this is going to work.
I think how it's going to work is, so within the year, you can do this for 90 days, from my understanding of the release. So it means that if you take a visa, I mean, if you go and you exhaust it within a period, the next time you're going, and you will need to now go through the process of applying for a visa. And like we said, the e-visa is also open, and so you may have to also apply online before you arrive in South Africa. I am waiting to see if it's just up and go. I've only seen the statement, and I haven't interacted with officials to understand fully if really within that 90 days duration, you can really just up and go. And when you go to just like we do in ECOWAS region, you go, you enter, and you're out. So from the statement, it seems that's how it's going to be. But then only that within the year, you have 90 days to enjoy that waiver. Yeah.
Well, let me bring in Crystal now. Crystal, from your experience, how easy would this new development be for you as a traveler, especially taking into consideration your recent visit to South Africa?
It would definitely cut down a lot of time and save us a lot of energy. I mean, as media practitioners, we're consistently getting invitations to cover events from within and around Africa. And having direct access to a place like South Africa really does help cut down the numbers. For instance, in recent times, just about a week ago, we were invited to the Africa Tourism Leadership Forum in Botswana, and had to travel, 6 hours-ish to the north, and then another 6 hours-ish down to Botswana. But if you look at the other route, being from Ghana to South Africa and then to Botswana, that could have been done within a day, saving us a whole lot of time and a whole lot of energy as well. So this is brilliant news, and it's exciting because it allows us to, use our time more efficiently, to save more energy, be more productive through and through. And it also allows us to travel, especially as media practitioners, and I'm sure many other businessmen and women as well would love this, because it allows us to travel, within short notice as invitations come around, or as business would have it, we can just up and go as and when needed, go conduct our business, and we're back. Even if we think that we want to go on vacation, for a week or so, we don't necessarily have to overplan towards it. We just, get up and move. So it's brilliant, and I'm excited about this, and I'm sure that many more African countries would get on board with this as well, because this would be great for trade and all sorts.
Indeed, it will be great. Now, Amir, before I let you go as well, for you, how will this development also help with your travels as a blogger?
It's going to make it very easy to travel. Like I said, just a couple of weeks, I had invitation. I think Giovanni from your side was able to go. He probably narrated to you how last minute he got his, and the rest of us couldn't do it. It was something I was really looking forward to experience, because over the years, each time that particular event is happening, I'm out of town, and I wanted to do this. So I was a bit disappointed I couldn't go. Once this is in full swing, especially for the type of travels I do. I think it works so that I don't have to go queue up for a visa, wait for days, and all of that. But for other travelers, specific, this may not be so much of an important news, depending on the category of traveling you want to do, because this is more for those of us who want to just go quickly and come. If you're going for school, of course, you still have to go through something like that and other forms of application too. Yeah.
Amiel, thank you. Mia Debra is a blogger. Crystal Aye, also my colleague here at Media Journal. Thank you. Now we asked you which country or countries you would want Ghana to have the same visa waiver agreement with, and why is that? Here are some of the comments that some of you posted on our Facebook page, TV3 Ghana. This one says, for me, every Commonwealth citizen must walk free into a Commonwealth country. Ah, well, I'm strong. Ajimandapa, thank you. Zahir says, Namibia, Botswana, Principe, and Sao Tome, Tanzania, Angola. You want all these countries to waive their visa? Okay, that's fine. Kwabena Inside says Morocco because it's closest to Europe. You have a plan. You have a plan. Samuel Tingani Samzi says Egypt. You want to go back home? Okay. Well, there's quite a number of them. And if you go on our Facebook page, TV3 Ghana, it's going to also keep the conversation going on. Join me tomorrow morning for Key Point at 7 a.m. Myself, together with my guests, would have a meaningful conversation on the key issues that dotted the week. And together with my experts panel, we'll go straight to the point, to the benefit of you, the Ghanaian people. Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner. Professor Enoch Enchi is a governance expert. We also have Bobby Bansing, private legal practitioner, and Alfred Ocansey is Deputy Attorney General. They will be joining me tomorrow on Key Point. Make a date, 7 a.m., also live on 3FM 92.7. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a great weekend.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.